Hello and good morning from Tucson, Arizona. Today I am in the West National Park, here to talk about the top 5 cons of living here in Tucson, Arizona. It's not all cactus and coyotes out here, so let's get into it. I will move kind of quickly. The first thing I want to talk about is, of course, the obvious. It is very hot here. It generally in June, July, and August, it will be that 110 to 115 range. Most people do agree that it is a few degrees cooler at any given time than it is in Phoenix. However, what is a few degrees? It does get very hot in the summer, and it does stay very warm throughout the year. So September was pretty warm. It does stay it does get up to 100, maybe low hundreds. It's not going to be that 110 like it is during the height of the summer. You will have those 90-degree days. Once you get to October, it does continually stay warm. It can still be in the mid-90s. It wasn't until late October that we did get a light shower that brought in some cooler temperatures. But then we still had some higher temperatures that were in the upper 80s in November. Next week is looking beautiful, 70s. It is mid-November right now, but it's taken a very long time for it to kind of cool down substantially. So, of course, most Arizonans probably say, hey, 90 degrees is great. I'll take 90 any day. Let's do it. We were up in Lost Dutchman camping early November, and yeah, the high in Apache Junction was, 90 degrees, which isn't bad compared to 110. Don't get me wrong. But for some people like me, I'm thinking, man, it's November. I want to feel those cooler temperatures. With that kind of climate here, you're not really going to get a fall. You're not going to have the leaves changing and all that stuff. The cactus don't go red and orange. Sorry, they stay green. So just want to let you know, if you're moving down to Tucson, just be prepared mentally. If you're coming down here, a lot of people are coming from the Northeast where they are like, you know what, I'd rather melt in the summer than freeze all winter and have to deal with the snow. With that heat will come high electric bills during the summer. But of course, in the winter, when it's gorgeous out, you could just leave the windows open. So you might balance out your electric bill throughout the year. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is something that's going to be just kind of small, and I'm going to combine this into two. But one thing that somebody wanted me to mention was valley fever. Now, valley fever is something that is found in the southwestern U.S. as well as the Pacific Northwest, but it is a fungus that can be inhaled, which can cause sickness, respiratory infection, lungs in the lungs and such as that. Somebody wanted me to mention that. I did a little research on it. You're more than welcome to look up valley fever. I don't think it's something you have to too heavily worry about, but I did want to mention it. The other thing I'm going to combine that with is here there's also a lot of critters. So depending on where you live in Tucson, if you live more in the rural areas, the outskirts, you will have to deal with the rattlesnakes and coyotes, javelina. People have had coyotes drag away their dogs, their cats, or javelina, or causing a racket, or finding snakes in their homes, scorpions. If you live in some of the rural areas, the one thing I would never want to deal with is the tarantulas. They will be everywhere. They will at some point have their mating season, so there are going to be a lot of them out there. Now, if you're mainly in the city, you probably won't see those things, obviously, because of human development. But just be aware, I've seen plenty of articles where Arizona man finds 12 rattlesnakes in his outdoor garage, water heater area. So that's just something you want to think about when you're here. I haven't had anything in my house, fortunately. I'm on a 3rd floor apartment, and I specifically chose the 3rd floor just to be kind of up there. But the third thing I'm going to talk about is something that I have heard a lot of Tucsonans complain about. Whether it be in videos or in person, it is the snowbirds. So the snowbirds are the people that leave all summer long, stay up in the north where it's nice and cool out, better temperatures, and then they flock down here. Now, a lot of people have their winter homes down here. They're here to escape the snow and ice, but with that, it brings traffic, longer lines, longer wait times at stoplights, just all that kind of good stuff. You have a lot of people that are here just touristy, they're coming down from those places to come down, tour the Saguaro National Park when it's pleasant out. You do have people, like I said, that do come here and have their winter homes. So a lot of people don't like that because it just brings more people, more traffic, longer wait lines. You got the slower traffic because people don't know where they're going and they're looking at directions. And so that's just something to be aware of. Honestly, it's not really that big of a deal so far. But we'll see. It's only November. Out here in the park, there is a lot more traffic out and about. I was here early October, and I came to do some photography and such. Really wasn't a whole lot going on, but there's definitely more traffic out there today, so people are showing up. Now, the fourth thing I'm going to talk about is if you're moving down to Tucson, you got to be aware that it is very, very spread out. It takes a very long time to get anywhere in the city, depending on where you're going. Because, of course, from my apartment, I'm going to Safeway. It's like right there, 2 seconds. But in general, there's no major highways or freeways or anything that connects the whole city. In the central area, you do have I-10 that cuts down on the west side and it goes down through the south side heading out to New Mexico. You do have 19, but those are on the west side. So if you're on the east side of Tucson, say the northeast side, and you want to go to Saguaro National Park West, you're going to be taking a long haul across town. Even from my apartment, it is about 35-40 minutes out here, 35-40 minutes to get to the East National Park. If I want to go down somewhere more south, it's going to take a while. So you're just going to be hitting a lot of stoplights. It's just street grid stoplights. And if you have bad luck like me, you're going to be hitting every red light. I hit every red light. So it takes me double the amount of time to get anywhere. When I'm driving with my wife, she's like, I've never driven with anyone who hits more red lights than you. So just be aware that Tucson's very spread out. You know, if you live close to a lot of amenities, you know, it might be right there. But sometimes, depending on where you're going at any given time, it can definitely take you a while to get there. It is very spread out. So it's not like Phoenix where you just hop here, hop there, you know, take these little freeways, byways, whatever, and zoop, you know, 60 miles an hour to get to where you want to go. It can take a while. Now, the fifth thing I want to talk about and final thing I wanted to mention is the crime. So I haven't run into anything personally. However, the Tucson crime rate from one website I was looking at can be in the ballpark of about 67% higher than the national average. So property crime and violent crime is going to be kind of high in the Tucson area. Obviously, you just have to do your due diligence, do your research if you're moving down here or if you're visiting. Just make sure you're in the right areas. You know, there's certain areas to avoid at night, and that's just like any city. So like any city, there's going to be certain areas you want to avoid. There's going to be certain places you don't want to be hanging around at nighttime. Generally, I would say it's safe. I'm out here at Saguaro National Park. It's great. I do live in the Catalina Foothills, which the Catalina Foothills is Tucson, but it is divided by East River Road. The Catalina Foothills, however, has great scores as far as crime. There are suburbs of Tucson that have really great scores. So like Oro Valley is one example. Oro Valley, I was listening to a video the other day. Its crime rate is about 87% below the national average. So there are some suburbs and areas that you can choose to live in where you're really not going to have to worry about too much. But Tucson, compared to other cities, I mean, Detroit, Philadelphia, DC, you know, New Orleans, or maybe parts of LA, you really don't have to worry. There was a lady that I spoke with who said, compared to LA, wherever she lived in LA, she's like, this is a cakewalk. So really depends on your experience. But just like any city, you just want to watch out, do your due diligence, don't walk in any strange places at night. So I just want to say my experience has been fine. There's a lot of great things about living in Tucson. There are some downsides, but I think what a lot of people end up coming to Arizona looking for one thing, and a lot of them probably just leave because of the heat, or they don't realize just how long the heat lasts. And the only way to really get away from that, if you're in Tucson, is to go up Mount Lemmon, where it's much cooler, or if you just go to Flagstaff. But Flagstaff is really, really expensive. Oh my gosh. So anyways, guys, just wanted to go over those couple things. You know, do you live in Tucson already? What's your least favorite thing about living here? If you're thinking about moving to Tucson, is there anything that you're worried about that I can help answer that question for you, since I am here on the ground? Just let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. It does help me out. If you are looking for the 5 pros of living in Tucson, because there are some great things about living here, you got this video right here where I will go over those things in detail. Thank you for visiting. We'll see you next time.